Okay, we're going to move right along into the show and tell stuff. Why don't we start online at the top there? Bill, you got anything to show us?
Muted.
Up. Yep. Turn your mic on there, Bill.
Not a thing, but thank you for asking. Next time I will.
All right, very good. Hank, how about you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Wow, this is going to be an early lunch. Joshua.
Yeah, I could show something.
Oh, excellent.
All right. You have to enable participating, please. Screen sharing. It's a small button option.
Okay, where is it?
It's just to the right of the screen share at the bottom on the right. It should be like a
Vertical arrow to
yeah, it should be like a hat that you can click and change the options.
That up arrow right there. Yep. Advanced sharing options. And then groups and share.
Oh, there you go.
Good thing I'm pretty practiced at Zoom.
All righty.
Fantastic.
Well, you know, our tech guy is new, so we're trying to break.
All right. So this is just a box art reminder of what I'm working on. It's a post-conversion 1350 Mogami. So it's a Japanese heavy cruiser during World War II. Was converted partially into an aircraft carrier. So it's been a kit that I've been working on. Where is my arrow at? 1 second. Move these people out of my way. There we go. All right. So to help me work on this, because the photo etch, and I don't know, as my eyes seem to new when I turned 40, I got this digital microscope to kind of help me out. And it was Christmas money I got and then subsequently indulged. And it's really where people usually use these for circuitry work. And I thought for photo etch, it really allowed me to get in there close and see which side I should be cutting on. And it's been a pretty helpful tool to kind of get in close. And you can take photos with the microscope as well, which is pretty cool. So you got to kind of pretend like you're a remote heart surgeon sometimes, but it's kind of cool. You can lean back, and when you're folding small parts like this, instead of being hunched over trying to scrunch and see, I just sit back and fold these little tabs for this cart, and it works for about 50% of your operations with photo etch, I'd say. So if you're interested, it's on Amazon. It's like $200.
Is this something you can mount to a headset?
That's a good question. It uses HDMI cabling to plug into the screen, the camera into the screen. Yeah,
that's kind of neat.
So been working on, I guess the reason why I was showing this, actually, can you see my cursor by any chance?
Oh yeah.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
great. So you see this part right here that I have circled? Yeah, I destroyed that. So I had to remake that. And anyway, so here's like some of the photo etch instructions for the Pontos kit to do the radar. Oh, here's the part that I destroyed. I'm jumping around a little bit. So I accidentally touched it with a lighter and it went up in flames pretty quick. So I made a jig to try to resolder a new piece. And all the way to the right is the destroy part. This was my first attempt, and then my second attempt came out much cleaner, and I snipped it to size. But I thought that the joints and all looked a lot better. And so this was the part of I think it's the aft tower that has the crane, the radar. So here's a comparison. So actually, this here is a replacement for this plastic piece, which is way more detailed. And that's kind of what it looked like when it was done after you attached the radar and all the photo etch and everything. And it's definitely a love-hate relationship. The photo etch is really fiddly, but it yields a pretty decent result, for the most part. About 13 planes I have to make. Got to use gravity sometimes to land these parts. This part here, I-4, was funny because it didn't work. It was way too big for the plane. So they screwed up on that. But these are all my float planes that I've been making and in an assembly line, and these are fairly complete. The ones on the right are missing the props, it looks like. So there's a complete. So this turned from I don't know, I would say 4 parts, and then with the photo etch it became 13. But photo etch adds a lot of nice detail though. And the reason for this picture is sometimes I have to use gravity to help me out, and these hooks were on backwards, I noticed. So I popped them off, and to get them to sit on that crane after I had already installed the crane, I had to turn the whole model upside down. These are the plane carts for photo etch. So I had to build 13 of those. And this is the aft crane setup. This is mostly, a lot of parts are assembled off the boat because I want to paint them separately, but most of this deck needs to be painted anyway. This, where I had already painted the brown linoleum deck here on the left, I've been leaving the superstructure and stuff off of it so that I can paint those pieces individually and maybe avoid masking the deck. But all this photo etch work is time consuming, but it's going to be tough to paint it later because it is a pretty cold color. And actually, that's the end. So
was this brass kit an aftermarket, or was this part of the original kit?
No, this is the Flyhawk up detail kit, which came with about 19 frets of photo etch and was probably close to as much as the kit itself. It's a Tamiya kit, which to me is a wonderful kit, but you end up replacing, I don't know, 40% of it.
Yeah, but look what you end up with at the end of it.
Yeah,
It looks
no,
nice, very impressive. It looks nice.
Thanks, Mark.
Did the photo etch drive you to drinking?
This is a what?
Photo etch, did it drive you to drink?
It requires a lot of breaks, and like I said, it's a love-hate relationship because sometimes you're working on something and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to land this, but sometimes you keep pushing it around with a toothpick and it gets there and you're like, I have no idea how I got there, but it's there and it's amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I don't
Thank
know
you,
about
Joshua.
Joshua, but I don't need inspiration.
You darn right.
All right, Tom, do you have any progress on your Titanic?
Well, I didn't bring the model up, but let me show you what I purchased. And I wanted to thank you folks for putting me on to Model Monkey. Because what I got from Model Monkey is, I gotta hold it closer to I blur my background. So let me unblur my background.
Well, put it in front of your face.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good, Tom.
All right. So this here is one of the funnels for the Titanic. And you know what? Let me come back. Let me come back later. I got photographs. Let me put the photographs up. It'll be better.
All righty, we'll come right back to you then.
Okay. Let me get the photographs up, and we'll put the photographs up. It'll be better.
You want us to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me.
Okay, Mort, how you doing there?
Hi. I mean, she's finished. I just have to mount the flags. I have a lifeboat, and I did the anchors, and that's about it. It's hard to see some of the embellishments like the master's cabin or the inside of the quarter galleries where I put commodes and hanging lanterns, and the admiral's cabin. You really have to look and see it, and you have to be careful because you can hit the rigging and the existing spars. She's so big. But I'm really happy with the way it came out. And like Josh said, it makes you crazy sometimes. you don't know how you did it, but you did it. And it really worked out well. It's a great kit. It's a lot of work and a lot of time. I mean, even if you don't do what I did, you just build it regularly out of the box. It's still a lot. I was very happy with the kit. And that's about it. I mean, if anybody has any questions about it, I'll be happy to answer them.
How long did it take you to do it?
March was 5 years. So it's just a little bit more than 5 years. But like I said, I embellished. I built them. Caldercraft gives you just the outlines of the quarterdeck cabins. I furnished the quarterdeck cabins. That took time. And I furnished some of the admiral's cabins, the sleeping cabin, part of his dining cabin. I did some of Hardy's day cabin. I added flags to the flag lockers. I put a door in front of the stem leading out to the heads for the warrant officers. I added furniture in the cabin, in Hardy's cabin. I made cartridge boxes with Chuck Pizarro's logos on them. As you see, the red boxes, and I put buckets there, and the hammocks. Can't forget the hammocks. One of my friends in the Jersey Club helped me with a jig, which really made it a lot easier to do. Because otherwise I was doing it all by hand. It was time consuming. But with the jig, it wasn't bad at all. And everything I've done is online on Model Ship World. So you can see it if you have any questions. It's under Mort Stoll's Victory. I haven't updated it, but all the embellishments are done. So you can see those things. If you have any questions.
Do you show the jig in your build log?
Yes. It's the last picture, I believe. But it's there. It was a very simple jig. I couldn't believe it. One of the guys from the Jersey Club did it for me. I was talking to him about it. And he said, "Why don't you make a jig?" And I just looked at him. I said, "I can't. I don't have the capacity, the mental capacity to make a jig." And he just said, "It's easy." And in 2 minutes, it took him 2 minutes to make the jig. It was scary. But it's the last picture, I think, in my build log.
So Mort, where is the model going to live now?
My son's office. It's going to go to Harrington Park, New Jersey, and it's going to be in his office.
Very nice.
He has a kit. He built he had a case built for it. The thing is huge. He had a furniture maker make him a case, and it's going to be in his office. Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah.
Did you say it's a Caldercraft kit?
Yeah, it's the Caldercraft Victory.
Okay.
And I embellished on it with the help of Longridge and the Anatomy of the Ship. And I went online also, and I took some of the virtual tours of the Victory. And what I did was I took pictures of some of the parts that they show you online. So I had the actual pictures in addition to the books. There's also a book called the Victory Owner's Manual, I think it's called, that I got online that has pictures of it. But there's a ton of documentation available on her, which is really great. And
Mort, any chance you could step back so we could get a view of the entire ship?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment, Mort, because I bet there's a lot of victories that never get finished.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot of work. It's scary how much work it is. It's overwhelming. I mean, just the painting alone. I mean, you can see the painting in the Admiral's area. It's all hand painted. So it's just a lot of work, but it's worth it. I mean, in the end, in the very end, I mean, she turned out nice. It's a great kit. I mean, it's
Did
my
they
third
actually have
Caldercraft
ropes
kit.
along the ladders?
Pardon me?
Did they actually have ropes along those exterior ladders? That's
They
a
did.
That's the
Yeah,
detail.
they did. They had man ropes on those, yes.
They did. No, Callicraft doesn't tell you to do it, but the research
Yeah.
tells you to do it. This is the third Callicraft kit. I did the Diana and I did the Snake, and then I like the Callicraft kits. They're nice kits. I thought they were easy to work with. They're easy. The plans were good, and the materials were good. I enjoyed them.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Tom, back to you.
Okay, let's try it this way real quick. I turned the blur off because it wasn't working. So anyhow, you guys put me on to a Model Monkey, and I'm working on this Titanic for a friend of mine, 1 to 350. It's the mini craft kit, and I'm not going to show you the model because lots of stuff is loose. I'll show it next month. But what I wanted to show you is I was looking for 1 to 350 cal vents, because the kit cal vents are horrendous. They're plastic castings. It's purportedly in styrene, but this is the weirdest styrene I've ever seen because it's almost like rubber. And when you try to use cyano to adhere stuff together, it's almost like it's vinyl rather than plastic. So the casting process, due to the casting process, you can't cast the cal vents. Now, I've scratch built cal vents, but it was impossible to do it at 1 to 350. So while I was looking for cal vents, I went on to Model Monkey. Thanks to you folks telling me about Model Monkey that I didn't even know existed. And what I found in Model Monkey, believe it or not, is right there. 4 of these. Okay, these are the funnels. And you could see the detail on these things. Pretty incredible stuff. And I don't know if you could really see, they have the lines for the plating. They have the rivet heads. Obviously, there's a lot of tree that has to be cut off once I start working on this. And I already spoke to Gene. The reason why I bought these is the ones that are in the kit you have to assemble of many pieces, and it still doesn't look right. It's smooth plastic. There's big holes in the side that you're supposed to thread monofilament through to simulate the stays, and it looks real clunky. Plus, you have to assemble it. This is completely assembled. So I've got all 4 3 funnels, and what's also interesting about these is that on funnel 3, you have a lot of, you could see this, I think. Yeah. There are water and steam lines that run up the aft side of the number 3 funnel, and they connect. There's pipes that go from them to the tank room, which is just aft of this. And I'll show you next time when I show you the model. Well, the kit part is real clunky, way out of scale. Okay, so I was going to scratch build it, but lo and behold, it's already there. So all I have to do is scratch build the part that goes to the tank room. So this is all going to be very interesting. What I'm working on, and what I called Gene to ask him about, knowing the experience he's had with 3D printed stuff, is each funnel has 12 stays, 12 shrouds. So what I have to 12 guides. They're on pad eyes that run just on the borderline of the black section at the top of the funnel. And they're with pad eyes that are welded onto the funnel. Obviously, you can't do that in 1 to 350. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill probably a number 78 or 79 hole, pointing slightly up, just under the support ring, and then I'm going to take some stiffened fly tying thread and just stick it in there and hold it in with cyano, and that'll be the top of my stay. And then when I get it down to the pad eye on the deck, I have a different technique when I do it and I make sure it works, I'll explain it to you. So anyway, Model Monkey did not have the pad eyes, but Model Monkey had other great things. For example, Model Monkey put me onto a website with actually a retired dentist, I believe, by the name of Bob Adams. Okay. And Bob has some tremendous plans. And what he's done is he's studied various aspects of the Titanic, compared all of the Britannic class ships, compared original plans against each other, extant photographs of each other, and photographs from the actual Titanic wreck. And he's put together these 12 to anywhere from 8 to 22 page research papers on each specific aspect. The guy is tremendous, did tremendous work. But before I go to screen share, what I wanted to show you here is, let's do it this way. These are the cowl vents. And what I'll do is take photographs and send them. But these are the 3D printed cowl vents that I got from Wales, UK. Okay, from a company called Stalling Models. And what's interesting about these, and you can't see it here because of the resolution, because it's out of focus a little bit. Well, maybe over here you can. Okay, you'll notice that these cowl vents, the larger ones, are actually hollow. The trunks are actually hollow. You can't do this with casting, folks. I'm just sorry. You cannot do this with casting. So I'm real excited about getting moving on this. If you let me do a screen share real quick. Okay. All right. You see that there? Okay. This drawing, this doctor researched all of the vents on the ship, and he compared it with the wreck and the sister ships for the Olympic class, Olympic, Britannic, and Titanic. And here he shows every single vent, fan, you name it, on the Titanic, including where it's located. And then he has a nice chart here that has a scale on it. So what I did is I printed this out and I reduced it down to 1 to 350. And now I can, I have some real good information. Other interesting features that he showed is the deck houses are all proper now. And it's interesting, for example, if you could see my arrow there on the stern of the ship. Okay, this small deck house on the top of this second class entrance off the boat deck, this small deck house, all this was to cover the top of the elevator machinery. Okay, in the kit, it's double this size. So I got to scratch build this the correct size. Now, why I'm doing this for someone who'll have no appreciation for what I'm doing, I don't know, but it is what it is.
Because it's there.
But it's there. I know, and yeah. So this is pretty incredible stuff, and I'm enjoying it. Let me just do a stop screen share, and I want to show you one of these research papers real quick. Okay, and I'm sorry for taking up so much time. Okay, this is one of the research papers. Okay, I mean, now this is Bob Reed. Okay, and what he's doing here is he's looking at the function of the docking bridge wheel. Now, this is something that, frankly, okay, it is what it is. But what's incredible about it is look at these photographs. I mean, this is just incredible. I mean, and I'm gonna scratch build the engine telegraph and the helm, but he just goes through all of these things and where it's.
Tom, are you showing?
We're not seeing
Tom,
this.
are you sharing the photos?
We're not seeing the photos, Tom.
Hold on. You see this one?
No.
No.
Okay, hold on. Oh, I gotta hit the blue button. Sorry. Okay. All right. Here you go. All right, look at this photograph. I mean, this is incredible stuff. And even if you don't use it for the docking bridge, you could see the vent there. You could see the benches. And you could also see some of the structure for the docking bridge, which does not appear anywhere in the plans. So that's pretty interesting. Let me go to one more. All right, so if you go to this website, okay, by Bob Reed, DMD, all of these things here, these are all of the research papers that this person did. It's incredible stuff. There's so much information. It's just incredible.
How did you become aware of this? How did you find this?
I found this all out by buying these funnels off of Model Monkey, and Model Monkey in their instructions on their website put me onto this website. So it's just absolutely incredible.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And thanks for letting me taking so much time. Appreciate it.
One question, Todd. Starling Models, what other products do they produce? Just the Titanic, or do they have a variety of other models and scales?
Well, this isn't even Titanic. This is just generic 1 to 350 vents, Cal vents. Okay. They do mostly UK ships, Royal Navy.
Okay.
They do armament. They do, anchors, bits,
Okay.
all that stuff. So, I ordered twice from Starling Models. The first time I ordered, it took roughly 3 weeks. The second time, it took 4 weeks. What was almost more interesting, not that I'm going to use it right away, but what was interesting is that the package was tracked. So tracking this thing from someplace in Wales all the way down to London, then to Heathrow, then to the United States was pretty interesting.
Okay, so I presume he prints himself as opposed to going to a third-party printer.
He prints some himself. This, I think, comes from a third-party printer.
Okay, all right. I'll have to look him up. Thanks.
Yeah, folks, that's it.
All righty. Anybody else online?
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, in-house. Joseph, I think you've got something to show, don't you?
Yes. So, a little sick today, so don't want to. That's the reason I'm wearing a mask. But I brought the kit that I recently bought for USS Salem CA-139. It's a kit by a company called Verifier, and I also bought the detail kit for it. And it represents a Des Moines class heavy cruiser of the 1940s, 50s Cold War era. And Des Moines class was the last class of heavy cruisers built by the United States Navy. They also were the first to have auto-loading guns for the 8-inch main armament guns. And Verifier makes 2 of these, one for Des Moines and the other for Salem. And the Des Moines kit has the catapults at the rear for the float planes, but those were quickly phased out after the end of World War II. And so the Salem kit lacks the rear catapults. And instead, in the detail kit, there's actually a tiny little helicopter that it includes. So that kind of shows you. I'm planning to build this as CA-148, which is USS Newport News, actually. And it was actually built in Newport News. And so I got some extra decals in order to do that. And I built the 1/700 scale version of this last year. So this is my first like 1/350 scale. The detail kit is very thorough. It comes with a lots of photo etch, which if my photo etch comes out half as good as Joshua's Mogami, then I'll be doing okay. Resin parts, which include vents and helicopter and little details like that, radars. Then it also comes with a wooden deck, and best of all, metal barrels. So, yeah.
Have you done much photo etch work, or?
I usually don't have the patience for it. So this is going to have to be a learning curve. Yeah.
So one thing I'll tell you is I was making the triple anti-aircraft guns for the Mogami using that Flyhawk kit, and they give me, I think, +2 for the they gave me enough to do, the ones I needed for the boat, +2 extras. Well, I ended up having to go buy an additional fret because I mangled so many. I mean, it was like the thing I started off with. I put the model down for a year because they really did intimidate me. So some of it's easier to work with than others, but those triple anti-aircraft guns, I thought were going to be the doom of me doing photo etch.
Look this way, please.
Yes.
All righty, thank you.
Yep.
Who is next? Bill, did you bring something?
Yes.
Are those your? Yeah. No. All right.
The plans are in from auction. They're just something Don's taking.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I brought Tony.
Okay. Well, you're going to show him off. All right. Sean.
I ran into Sterling when I was working on a pond yacht, and they seem to have a lot of information on the early 20th century.
Yeah, I've not heard of them. I'll have to
It
look
looks
them
like it's growing, Sean.
It's growing, yes. Okay, so this is again the Winchelsea model, trying to make it into HMS Pearl, which is an earlier ship of the class. So this past month, tongue in cheek, I've had a whale of a time building the
Next.
building the whales for the ship. So on the build logs on NRG, if you look at Chuck's build and all the others that have done it, the way the build log would have you build it is 2 layers of planking, just straight planking the ship. I ended up deciding that I wanted to try my hand at actually trying to plank it the way the ship would have been planked in the era, which is top and butt planking. So you can see that I have planked it top and butt type single layer. And you can see on the starboard side, I've started it. So you can see kind of the way I've started to do it. I haven't quite sanded the starboard side yet. I've still got several rows to go do, but I ran a batten down the length for the underside of where I wanted it to go. And so now I'm just laying the first course up on there so you can kind of see where that is. I've also planked the lower counter before I started to lay in the whales. And then I did, one other thing that I did was the bullards up front. I put those in.
Nice.
That really looks good. Really looks good.
Yeah, it's impressive, very impressive.
Did you get the bullets on the first try?
No, actually, that's the 3rd and 4th try. The first 2 went a little too far on the sanding, so they became rectangular in shape, and I had to progress. And actually, one of the things that I found and why they were coming out rectangularly one of the things you have to do to get them to size correctly is you do have to sand the inner bulwark down to get the right profile, because they're supposed to be flush so that you can plank over them. And so I guess maybe if I turn it around, you'll see it a little better. So what I ended up finding was I actually sand the inner bulwark too thin. And that's why they were coming out. First two tries were coming out square or rectangular. So I ended up putting some filler pieces in because they'll get planked anyway. You won't see it. And that allowed the bullards to come out square.
That's a tricky part of
It
the
was.
build.
It was one of the hardest pieces, without a doubt.
You did it right, though.
Pretty pleased with it, yeah. So,
Did you,
go ahead.
did you make a groove, a jig for the tongue and groove planking?
Yeah, actually, and I meant to bring it in. I have a couple jigs that I made. I'll try to remember. Almost broke the stern again. I'll try to bring it in next time. I meant to bring it in this time to show, but I essentially made 2 stencils out of just styrene in the shape of the plank with a plate underneath it, just so that I could rest it against the blank, and then I just traced out the profile, and then using a 12-inch sander, disc sander, I shaped them to the curve that I needed. And then I have 2 blocks that I use as a sandwich to get the curvature for the bow area. So I have one that covers this part of the bow, and then a second block that will form the slider curve just back from that. And all I did, this is maple, by the way. All I did was just soak them in water for a little bit, put them between the 2 sandwiches, clamped them together, let them dry overnight, and they were done. And they formed pretty close to the side.
Nice.
So ultimately, how are you going to finish it? Is it painted? Is it varnished?
I'm not I like the look of like I did on Siren, where above the whales was just natural. So it'll just have a satin polyurethane wipe on. The whales themselves, I'm not yet 100% sure if I'm going to do like Siren, where I painted them Mars black, or if I'm going to stain it black. I'm not 100% sure yet. The variation in the wood tone from the blocks of maple I've been using might make staining a non-option, because I think it would, the pattern, I'm not sure if I like the different color pattern.
Well, you can do half and half, one side, the other side.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. So, lots to think about. And obviously, I've got to start thinking about, because after I've done planking it, which will probably be several months of planking, I got to start working on the stern. And if I'm going to modify it from Winchelsea to Pearl, I need to start carving, see if I can actually carve the figurehead or not. I've never done it, and I'm a little intimidated by it.
Oh,
that's my
Very
my
good, John,
piece.
thanks. Anyone else for the show? All righty, well, then it's my turn. Okay, I promise this is the last time.
I wanted to speak up on Tony's behalf.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
He brought in a bunch of stuff to give away. It's on the table there. PCR tapes and whatever.
Yeah,
Just wanted to point that out.
this is something that belongs to our age group, because we've got DVD, not DVDs there, but tapes. So if anybody has a machine that will take this stuff, some very good information in it. But if we're a little too young to be part of this environment.
Which camera you want?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
There's a way.
This one goes out.
All righty.
Oh, yes.
All right, thanks, Tony. Okay, I brought in the last of the small boats that I will be doing for the Olympia. Finally, I've got the and for you too. the last time you'll be suffering this detail. But here is the 33-foot steam launch ready to be hung from the davits. And then one of the two balsa rafts that they use for maintenance around the ship. You really can't get too close into it. I'll try and bring it up to the camera. But it's primarily of cast resin, as I've done all my hulls. The steam is also cast resin and bits and pieces of brass tubing and photo etching. So that's the 33-foot. The balsa raft is also cast resin with brass oars. And then I brought along a couple of books that I use for research. You can't have enough research. So if you want to do a boat right, you have to do the research, including lots of photographs, drawings that I've collected over the years. And it's just a matter of just collecting it. I mean, you almost need to have stuff like this if you want to build a model accurately.
There's that word again. Just.
Just. So this represents decades of collecting. I've gone to the archives. I've gone on board the ship, taken a lot of photographs, and the archives had quite a collection of drawings, mostly of interior spaces, ventilation, which was of no interest to me. I just wanted outside stuff. So this kind of gives you an idea of the extent that one really should go through if you want to do it right. And of course, as my mantra states, anything worth doing is overdoing.
For our guests, can you explain what the steam launches are going on?
Oh, I didn't. Well, I guess so. The steam launch is off of the USS Olympia, the C6, Admiral Dewey's flagship. And this was one of the two steam launches that were on board. The awnings are just rolled material. The awning frames are all brass, as are all of the staves, the dark brown and white and ash staves are all photo etched in brass and painted. There was no way I was going to be able to laminate small pieces of wood like that. And besides, the grain would have given it away. So I opted to paint in this case.
As a standalone model, that's incredible.
It is. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well, it'll be hung on the davits being deployed with the rest of the 18 boats that are on board the boat.
How big is your Olympia?
The Olympia is about 8 foot. It's quarter-inch scale model, and I'll talk more about that in the near future when I finish it. I'll probably have another year into it before it'll finally be ready to be shown.
Can you just submit that launch just as its own model at the next IPMS, since they won't let you do the
Well, it is plastic technically.
Yeah. So, if they wouldn't let you do the whole, you could just submit that.
Alrighty, yeah.
Got a question. I was looking at that in detail, real up close. The frames for the canvas. How did you get the joints to that?
Oh, that's all soldered.
All soldered.
Yeah, it's all soldered together. I built a jig for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then bent the frames and then mounted in the jig and then soldered it together.
Okay. Wow. It's phenomenal.
Alrighty, well that should conclude our show and tell. I'll take 5 minutes to build up my courage and then we'll start on with the presentation.
I have one question if I could ask about the steam launch.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
The how did you do the little? It looks like like a 2-pounder gun looks like the tripod for that at the bow. How did you do that?
That was photo etched from my own artwork. I do all my own photo etching in-house. So I drew up the plans and drew up the artwork for it and etched it in my shop.
And the funnel, was that photo etched?
The funnel is actually a brass tube, which I found was correct diameter.
Sure.
Which was mounted into a cast resin boiler, which I made from my own patterns and mold. I do all of my own mold making and brass work. So
Well, that is really fantastic. I see you did a lot of research. Are you aware of I guess it's 1893 issue, which was the first issue of a big volume that was the Naval Architects and Marine Engineers Society that they started in 1893, I think, and went into the 40s. And in the first issue, they had a big section on Navy boats with scale drawings and photographs of this kind of a boat and smaller ones as well. I'm not sure, it looks like you did a great research.
tell me that now because I don't want to. You're supposed to do your research before you build it. No, I've heard of it but not seen it. But I got a hold of quite a few nicely detailed and drawings from boats of that era to rely on, and some were specific to the Olympia, but most of them were generic small boats that were across the fleet. So drawings and photographs were fairly easy to come by.
Good for you. Yeah.
Fleshing out the little details and so forth. Some of it is, conjecture because, I don't know a lot of the finite details of a specific boat on that boat, the Olympia, but I suspect that they were probably pretty generic naval boats and probably shared characteristics of, other ships.
They happen to have that set of volume at my local library, and I went there and I was blown away by some great stuff in it, and I said I'd like to take it home and copy it, and they said, well, it's a reference book, you can't take it out. And I looked on the card, and it hadn't been taken out or something or viewed since for like 27 years. Wait a minute, this isn't in high demand. And she said, all right, you can take it for 2 weeks and just bring it back.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in the, let me see if I can get a closer up of the mount. That was etched in one piece and then formed around a conical dowel and soldered.
Gene,
I got to do one just like it. I got to do one, actually several just like it for a 1895 torpedo boat, the Erickson, that I'm doing right now. So my mouth is watering.
Yeah, no, and I have to, most of my research was done up at the archives, starting way back when it was still down in DC. All the original drawings that I had, I went down there and got copies made from the original vellums that they had on hand at that time.
Wow, nice.
Then over the years, they migrated up to a Silver Spring.
Thank you very much.
And Bill's got, I think, some models in. Bill, do you have some models in the Navy Yard?
Yeah, a couple in the Navy Yard. That's right. And I donated one a year and a half ago to the Hampton Roads Museum. I don't think it's on display yet, but it's down in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I have to go check that out. Yeah, it's right there at Nauticus, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not on display.
Yeah.
And it was a Civil War gunboat called the Agawam, a double ender, and it had a lot of its history, and the real ship had its history in the bay there, and so in Hampton Roads. So I donated it there, but they claim in a year and a half, they're redoing their display, and it may be on display, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a nice little museum. I've been there several times. All right, if there is nothing else, we'll take a brief respite and then